What's going on, guys? What's up? How are you? It's me, your boy Hebot, coming back at you, hopefully with a quick video. And today I am gonna make ponies and Xbox haters happy, because this is actually a video of me trying to kind of call out Xbox, but at the same time more of a criticism for their lack of communication and transparency for one of the best features that they have to offer on their console that they kind of basically have put to the wayside. And many people keep asking, but they're not being communicative enough and giving us enough information that it's becoming a red flag, where it's becoming worrisome, and where it's becoming where it looks like they're either holding something back from us, or maybe possibly lying, or not, or trying to keep us distracted because they no longer want or will continue. So it's not a good look. And me personally is my ultimate feature, because the truth of the matter is it helps me in a tremendous way, big time, because I have a lot of money invested in this, hobby for many years, like a lot of other people. I'm not the only one. And it was something that made me excited to see what's coming next, and still nothing. It's been over a year, almost a year and a half, almost going on 2 years, and we haven't heard a word, even though people from Microsoft have had interviews, like Jay Ronald on Major Nelson's podcast, and kind of said, yes, we will be talking about it soon, but there's nothing being said. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, I'm speaking about the lack of backwards compatibility, updates, news, and inclusion of new games. And I understand there's a lot of legalities behind it because of licensing and issues of that nature. I get it. But I'm pretty sure there's a way to come up with some type of agreement with Microsoft, type of money, with a lot of these games that still are very evident and that are missing from the catalog, that need to be there, that deserve to be there. Because the best part of this feature is what kind of basically made Microsoft a force to be reckoned with, starting from the Xbox One generation until this point, because Phil's messaging was preservation of games that you already invested on. And someone like me that has 2,000 games or more just physically is something that needs to continue, and that I would love for it to continue, because they said it was going to continue. They said it themselves. Phil himself said it when they made the announcement in the last show they did with the last batch, and said that it was going to be postponed for the time being until they moved it over to the Xbox Series X. Now, I understand that pandemic and has been a big factor, but see, the whole point is that if it's the pandemic that has affected it in that much, because let's say it's something that has to be done more hands-on under the same roof in one building, then Microsoft, your obligation and your job is to let us know and not keep us at a quiet without knowing. Because as fans, I see a lot of people advocating for it, like Jamie Moran, always talking about Max Payne 3, and me myself with From Software's Otage 1 and 2 on OG Xbox. Been constantly saying, hey, listen, more backwards compatible. I tag Jay Ronald, I tag Phil Spencer, I tag sometimes Aaron Greenberg, so that they can see it, not in a toxic or in a disrespectful way, just very cordial, very respectful, Listen, any news on Backwards Compat? Will we be hearing something very soon? And all I keep hearing is crickets. I'm going to be honest. Crickets. I don't hear nothing. And it gets me upset because I'll see them always pandering to things like agendas of political views, like Latinx, for example, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And me being a Puerto Rican, quite frankly, that offends me. 90% of Puerto Ricans don't care about that, and Latinos in general. We don't care, and we don't appreciate being called Latinx, regardless what anybody else may think. It's Latino for men, Latina for women. It's always been that way, and that's the way we like it. But yet they keep pushing this, and they'll concentrate in things like this, for example, but won't say a word to me when I ask about backwards compatibility. You guys made a promise. Phil, you made the promise. And this is probably one of your best features that you have over every other competitor. And I understand there's the resurgence of a lot of those remasters that started last generation. And I think a big part of it and a big problem is that these companies have realized, well, we can make some money and do very little work. And there is a difference with a real remaster that's done right and makes sense versus a remaster that's just cheaply done and it's a cash grab. Very big difference. Or where a game that, depending how old it is, makes sense to remaster, right? And I want to get into that as well here in the video. They just recently announced that they were going to do Enclave and a brand new version of Night Slasher. Enclave is a medieval game that came out, hack and slash adventure with platforming on the OG Xbox. It was exclusive to the console. A phenomenal game, and it was really lost in the mix. It was one of those games that didn't do well, didn't really receive a lot of attention, even though it got very good reviews, and a lot of people never even probably discovered it or played it, right? Now, it's a game that I feel makes a lot of sense to remaster because the game is very, very, very old. And to see it brand new, updated today, with the technology of today, it would look absolutely stunning. And it would be very good and healthy for the IP to be reintroduced, and people will pay attention and look at it. Especially a lot of people have this urgency to play games that always feel and look like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or things of that nature, like Bloodborne. Does it play exactly like those games? No, but those were obviously the very first stepping stones of games like those of today. They're much more straightforward hack and slash, but still phenomenal games. So a game like that, I understand why it's being remastered, but at the same token, with that being said, I feel that there's no excuses why it should not be backwards compat via Xbox, so that people can play it at least in the Xbox community and reintroduce themselves and get hyped for the IP and see if they feel it warrants to buy the new remaster. Just like Night Slashers coming to Xbox for the first time, but it's going to be the remastered version, even though the arcade game and the version of the arcade is out on Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4, right? Or I think it's only on the Nintendo Switch. And that game should have been on all consoles because it never been released ever before on any console prior to. And it was always stuck in the arcades. And you fight zombies, it's a beat 'em up, and you're some superheroes like vampire slayers, kind of like Dracula, right? Or in Castlevania, you're vampire slayers and demon slayers, and you're fighting zombies and demons. Awesome looking game, a lot of fun, beautiful graphics, and never came to Xbox, even though you can play it on the Switch, Steam, and I believe PS4. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think it's on PS4, but it might not be, I'm not sure. Either way, it should have been on Xbox and didn't come. So now they're making a reimagination where they're doing better graphics, updating it, making it modernized, kind of like Alex Kidd kind of like the way they did with Panzer Dragoon. And I'm excited. I'm excited because it's coming to Xbox and it's going to be, sugar coated with some new stuff, new graphics, updated, and I think it's going to be a fun and nice and beautiful looking game. So cases like that, I understand why it makes a lot of sense. When a game is lost and the game is old and they're trying to reintroduce it to the market. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm back, guys. Excuse me for that. So like I was saying, when they're making remasters of older games that have kind of been lost in translation through time, that really didn't have a big limelight and were discovered before, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to try to remaster them and reintroduce them. I'm for that, as long as they're done right, well priced. Absolutely, especially if the games were really good and deserved, to be shed light, like Mad World or something like, Sin and Punishment 2, something like Tatsunoko versus Capcom, something like Mr. Bone, for that matter, for Christ's sakes, that was on the Saturn, right? Those games would be an absolute delight to see back and return in remastered form or rebooted, not rebooted, but remade, right? With new graphics, new style, and, added content, added gameplay mechanics to kind of fit the better, aesthetics and gameplay style of today with controllers and technology and so forth and so forth. But Microsoft, I really, really have to call out the fact that you're not being transparent enough. You're not being transparent at all. You're letting us kind of in the cold and in the dark, and we're constantly trying to figure out, hey, listen, what we doing? Hey, listen, what's going on? Hey, listen, what are you doing? And it's getting frustrating. It's getting frustrating because we're trying to figure these things out, and people are getting anxious. People are getting kind of worried, myself included. I can't lie. People are getting frustrated. A bunch of things. It's just there's like I said, there's a red flag right now because it kind of feels like you guys are not going to go back to it. You're not going to revisit it, and you're kind of done with it, but are trying to not say anything and kind of put it under the rug, which is not cool because this is one of your most powerful secret weapons, in my personal opinion. And for a lot of people, I know they feel the same. It's a very big deal and a secret weapon that makes Xbox better than the competition. Because, we know that we could at least count on playing all these games that we've had already on our console. So like I was saying, excuse me for the phone was ringing. So yeah, so it's your secret weapon and you're not using it. You're basically putting it to the wayside. And again, if it's because the pandemic has affected that much in the fact that you have to be hands-on under the same roof and building, for example, then be transparent. Say so. Say this is why we haven't done any, because in order to get it done, it has to be done in the offices, hands-on, under the same room, the roof, and that has been impossible because of pandemic. And I think that will kind of create a sense of relief. I'm almost 100% sure it will create a sense of relief for the Xbox fan base and in the community, because we're getting very anxious and uneasy about it. Because again, you hyped us up with the fact that we are offering you the ability to preserve forward compatibility for preservations of your investments in games. And you said it with all 4 generations, not just 2 like Sony's doing now with the PS4 and the PS5, right? Presumably. But with all the generations of Xbox. And I think this is what makes your platform stand out over every other platform. And a lot of people are really happy with that. And yet, we haven't heard a word. And it's not that we won't be understanding. I'm pretty sure if you're more vocal, more transparent, communicative, the community will be happy to hear something. Because again, it's almost been 2 years and we haven't heard anything. So it's getting really worrisome. For me, I can speak for myself and some people that I know, like my boys and some of my friends, they're worried because they feel like maybe it's over, and it shouldn't be, because there's a lot of games that still need to be brought to back compat. You know, too many games. You know, especially like those Marvel games on 360, all those games on the OG. Maybe since Marvel doesn't want to play nice with you as far as making it exclusive for Xbox, and they probably haven't approached you, maybe you can approach them about making all those games back compat and at least giving us the ability to play those games. It's because something is better than nothing, right? So I need to say something because it's bothering me. I'm frustrated about it, and I've been holding back and haven't said a word for a while now. And you know, I really wanted to return. I love the feature. I have a lot of invested games, you know, that I feel I would like to revisit. And yes, you guys giving us boost mode and enhancement mode, and they're very nice, and we appreciate it, but we want more titles as well, you know. So many titles like Never Dead, Remember Me, the Star Trek game, so many wonderful games like Lollipop Chainsaw, you know, Inversion, just games that we can't touch, Cursed Crusades, because they're just locked, you know, Punisher from OG Xbox, all the Marvel games, like I said, you know, because they're locked to that console. And I think that you guys made and started a movement with backwards compatibility in such a different approach and way that never really has been done to that level, even though you kind of started that on the 360, but also abandoned it, right? After a while. And I think this time around, you guys will be making a horrible mistake to just abandon. And yeah, it's understandable. I get it. You're not going to be able to get all those licenses and people on board because people just want to make money, especially that they see that the new thing is to buy remasters and it's an easy cash grab. But it's still very important that you can continue to push the preservation, because by you guys doing it, because you have the big pockets and have the means, you're going to set the standard. You're going to push it forward, and more companies are going to follow suit and keep trying to push for it, because for their consumers, because it's the right thing to do. It's the thing that makes the most sense, and it makes gamers feel protected and you know, obviously happy, because we don't have to worry about if we can't play it on our older consoles in case they break, or we can't get our hands on it no more, because the market for a lot of those older consoles are starting to get more and more expensive as there are less and less units available, right? So as I was saying, as time and time keeps going on, these legacy consoles are going to become much harder to obtain and acquire. And quite frankly, a lot of us that own, let's say, one or two as a just in case or a reservation, by not using them, that also gives the potential to those units to die out and not work. So, you know, it's not really protected. So that's why via VAT compat with the newer consoles, newer technology, is such a wonderful option. And makes a whole lot of sense, like I said. So, I really hope that you guys step up to the plate. I don't know if you'll see my video or not. I hope people that see it will tag you with it. I'll try to tag you guys myself. But basically, it's just, you know, a fan trying to tell you, listen, there's concern. There's concern. And it's not a good look. You guys are not looking good right now because you're not explaining and being more vocal about the situation. Or if it's something that's going to be done for whatever reason, you should let us know ahead of time, or sooner than later, so that we don't keep our hopes and expectations high anymore. But again, if that's the case, I really, really think it would be a very big mistake, because it's one of the premier features and upper hand, so to speak, that that you guys have over the competition, hands down. It makes you guys stand out over everybody else and the rest, just for that feature alone, not including all the other stuff that you do that's consumer friendly. But that one right there really hit the mark, really hit the nostalgia factor, really hit the nose, right? So, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you thought about my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. You give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, or a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. It's fine. You don't have to. And as always, share the video with someone you think might like it. For all you guys that continue to give me the support on my channel, thank you, because without you guys, this is not possible, and I cannot be sustained. Please excuse me for looking a little bit groggy. I'm in a lot of pain right now today, and not having a good day. But I feel in good spirits, so I wanted to talk about this. So you guys, thank you so much. And for all you guys that are new, that ran into my channel, I hope you like what I did. And if you did and were kind enough to subscribe, it means the world to me, because I know you didn't have to. But since you did, just remember, I consider you now part of my family. And you guys, if you want to check me out and find me at, other venues, you can on Instagram under C_respect, on Xbox Live and the Nintendo Network under under Hebot 8, on the PlayStation Network under Alf Fell from Sky. I'm also on Twitter. Like I said, I'll give that information soon enough. And obviously on my YouTube channel here under Hebot. So, guys, thank you so much. If you want to help me out in any way, shape, or form, from the kindness of your heart, because you like what I do and you want me to help grow my channel and get better, you know how to do so. It's all down in the description below, with a PayPal information and a Patreon information. And if you guys ever want to donate anything to me to showcase it or highlight it or review it, it would be a pleasure of me to do so. It would be an honor. Just hit me up on DMs on any of those social outlets, whether it's through console or Instagram, and we'll work out the particulars. This is Hebot signing off, guys. See you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Love you guys. See you in the next one.